In this episode of the Shout Out Podcast, we talk with Call Me Adventurous, an Instagram travel blogger. She'll give us tips and a little insight on her Instagram account. Let's go! All right, welcome everybody. This is the first podcast of we don't know the name of it yet, but it could be the shout outs, where we're covering social media and we will try to speak with influencers, people in the space. I'm joined here today with Rachel, my co-host, and please tell us who our guest is today.
Our guest is Samantha. Do you want me to use your full name? Or
that's cool, yeah.
You introduce yourself.
I'm Sam, or Samantha Obrakja. Yeah.
I used to work with Sam at a social media marketing firm, so that's how we first got introduced. And I knew that she worked in the industry, but then as I got to know her a little better personally, I saw that she herself had a really illustrious social media presence and really beautiful work that she was doing on there. So I thought she would be a great first guest for us.
Awesome. Now I was looking at your Instagram and it's very, very beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Those pics are like super, super like nicely thought out and everything. Can you tell us some background on what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just loved picking up cameras when I was little, and then as I kind of went through education and taking photography classes and stuff, I got to the point where I was I'm kind of stuck in my small hometown. I need to get out and have more chance to see the world and have a bigger, I guess, area to photograph. I mean, I look back at my old work now and it's kind of embarrassing. I guess everyone does that, but yeah, I really love color. I love playing with color a lot, and
But you have a really consistent palette. I noticed that's the hardest thing that I find is creating consistency across the board where it's clearly your voice, and so it's not this mishmash of stuff. Every obviously photo is different and unique, but somehow you create a consistency that I'm really impressed by, and I don't know how you do that.
I guess I kind of just I mean, a big part of what I do even before I go on any trip is I research basically any sort of colorful locations I can find. Every time I go to London, I have a long list of any sort of colorful spot that I could find if I found it through Instagram or Pinterest or just walking around. And then I just seek them out and try to photograph it in a way that other people haven't yet, but sometimes it's hard, it depends. But that's been a big goal of mine, is trying to photograph mainstream things in very odd or different ways, and I think it's worked out for me. Back in the day, I had a photo of the Eiffel Tower that I took. That was where the Eiffel Tower was blurred in the background, and there was a I guess leaf thing that was kind of in the same curve as it, and I somehow won a contest with that photo. And they said it was because they'd never seen it shot that way. So
is that how the whole Instagram thing started? What was your beginning with Instagram itself?
Well, I had my own personal where I was just posting dumb stuff using the dumb filters that come with Instagram. And then a couple years ago, I mean, I'd already been blogging, and I figured I should probably separate my personal Instagram from where I actually put my photographs, because I have my photography portfolio site, but I didn't want to put those on my personal Instagram, because I guess on my personal I like to do straight out of the phone shots. I don't like to upload whatever I took on my camera. So I was I need a place to just put those photos. So I made a huge Dropbox folder of all my photos so I could send it to my phone, and yeah, just started kind of picking and choosing random photos every day that I had already had edited.
Now, did you go into this in mind that you wanted to turn this into make some kind of business, or just straight hobby for fun?
When I first started, I definitely was this should be a business someday. I mean, I'm not super businesswoman where I think I can have my own empire someday. I can't even get people to pay me when I do pictures of them, so that's why I don't do portraits anymore. I'm not mean enough to demand money. So I've gotten cheated out of money a lot of times just because I haven't been fierce enough to pursue that. So I was like, well, if I can't really do that, at least I can focus on what I can work on individually. So I started kind of 2 years ago, back when it was actually kind of easy to grow a following, just like doing all the best practices of like following people, liking their photos, commenting at like people within your niche. And then unfortunately, like a year ago, that all died.
Yeah, what do we all think about that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, because when I first saw this and I only knew you like socially, then all of a sudden I saw, wow, you have this like really healthy following of people, and I thought, I mean, obviously you deserved it because I really liked your work, but also knowing now how difficult it is to get people to notice you, I wondered if those were people that you had from before when it was a little bit more straightforward, and if you just basically followed the rules and you did good work, you got followers, whereas now it just seems like you have to pay to get followers. Would you say it like flatlined and now it's a lot harder?
Yes, it definitely flatlined. Like, because I remember when I first started, I got like 2,000 plus followers within the first like month or two just by like following, and then like that was really exciting, so it pushed me to like really work hard on that, and I did that for like 6 months to kind of get where I am, and then all of a sudden, yeah, kind of just cut out. And I've been like stuck at the same number. It kind of like varies a little bit. So, and like occasionally if like maybe someone writes an article and I'm like in it, I'll get like some more followers, but then I think unfortunately some of the best practices from back in the day did include some sort of like, I mean, I'm sure I got a lot of like fake followers through that, so I'm sure like that's probably why my numbers stayed the same, because like people are following me, it's just the number stays the same. So I think a lot of like the old followers from back when it was like follow for follow type of thing are probably just like all either getting their accounts cleared out or like unfollowing, so it's been pretty like...
What about engagement?
I mean, it depends on like what photo I post, and if I like write a caption that goes along with it, and I try to keep it super real with my followers, like, because there's a lot of travel influencers out there that like, it's just very like dreamlike, like this is my world, but it's like, I mean, and maybe their life is perfect, I don't know, but like my life is super not perfect, so I think I try to at least like reflect that in captions, and sometimes I just want to post a pretty photo, so I don't really like write a caption or anything, but it just like, but like, yeah, if I write like something, I usually get pretty great engagement. I've like met so many people through Instagram, and like, yeah, like every time I go somewhere, I have like 5 to 10 people being like, we should meet up. And I've met some really cool people, and also I've like had this really big push lately to make sure like diversity is super at the forefront of like my other job, because I do social media for a travel company, and it's been, I mean, just in general, the travel industry is like very like white prevalent, and like I asked my boss if it was cool if I could like start reaching out to like travel influencers of color and like have them like work with us. So since the beginning of the year especially, I don't think we've had like a single like straight white male do like an Instagram takeover. It's all been people of color,
or a cute blonde couple. None of those. I'm really tired of seeing those just like on their trips.
So yeah, it's been cool. And I even ended up connecting this one guy with our company, because they were looking for like the next kind of up and coming influencer to be like our next, I guess, like mini series that we'd like pay them to go on trips and send a crew with them, and it's a black dude, and I'm really excited that like I could get that connection, because he's like messaged me and he was like, thank you so much, this is all because of you, and I'm just like, okay, I'm out here helping people. But yeah, it's been nice, because it like, not that like white people don't deserve to like have a space, but like, yeah, there's been a lot of like, yeah, I feel like there's
I've seen a couple brochures.
There's space for everyone, so yeah, I've been trying to do that a lot, and like, so lately I haven't really focused so much on my own, I guess, personal brand, in that I'm trying to just like put others forefront, at least for now.
So a lot of times I get a couple of questions on that whole world of influencer marketing. How does that work for someone that is getting into that business, especially for travel? A lot of people are kind of asking questions like, how do I reach out to hotels? How do I get my stays paid for in that sense? Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, you have to start really, really small. Like, you cannot just like pitch a hotel right off the bat, because then you'll have what happened with that like blogger.
Oh, when she got called out?
Yeah.
Oh,
also, she didn't do her research, because that hotel is known for like being super snarky. But like, you really have to start small. Like the only free things I've gotten are like hostel stays, which are not anywhere compared to like a nice hotel. So.
And not necessarily something you want to photograph, but
yeah,
you can stay there and go out and travel. But the venue you're staying in is not going to be necessarily featured.
Yeah. So like I try to do what I can to make the hostel look as good as possible for the review I do for them, but sometimes it's like, I mean, I'm not really it's maybe saving me like $100 versus like if I somehow got a hotel stay that was like $1,000, but I'm not there yet. You kind of have to like, you have to know what your brand is and go for that. Like I know I'm a budget traveler, so pitching
maybe
big
a relationship
hotels.
with Airbnb or something.
Maybe, yeah, like you just have to like you have to like build up a portfolio of what you've done for other companies, so you can potentially go to bigger companies and then pitch them. Or lately I joined a bunch of, there's like all these companies that are coming up where they match you with companies that need like an influencer for stuff, and usually you have to have like a certain amount of followers, or like you need to be within that niche. But like I joined this one that like they reached out to me and were like, do you want to have the new like Google Pixel phone or whatever to try? And I was like definitely willing to try to switch to Android. So
was that a website or a company?
It's a company called Obviously, and they like connect influencers with like brands that have like campaigns where they. So that was nice because I love my new phone, and this is not an ad for it, but like I mean. It's the camera on it is so good that I was like, but they knew I'm a photographer, so that's why they reached out to me. But yeah, like you can join like sites like that. You just have to like Google like influencer programs.
And be careful though, because I've seen too. There's a lot of things that are not necessarily like legitimate, or they essentially want you to buy things, or
and I definitely
get scammed.
So there's a little Fugazi next.
I know. I almost thought it was too good to be true at first, because I was like, what? But yeah, it was like all I required in return was just a few Instagram posts and like a story, and then not even a blog post. So that was cool. But they knew based on my photography that was my brand.
I'm curious actually though, like about that too, just because we're on the subject of it, influencers and then like sponsored posts or ads and stuff, because you see obviously the people who are totally like the Kim Kardashians of the world, who will sell out entirely and hawk tea that they never drink and stuff like that, which I don't even understand how that works, because it's like y'all know they aren't drinking that tea. So how does that ad work? Is it just literally that enough eyeballs getting in front of the product sells it and that's enough? Because I don't know, that would never sell me. I guess you have to sell to a very specific demographic, and I'm not a part of that, but because I know they don't drink it. And even if they did, then I especially wouldn't buy it. But beyond that, I have other people that I really like, who they finally started to form some relationships with certain companies. Like there's this one YouTuber I like who started a relationship with Blue Apron, but I could tell she was like so tentative about it and careful, and was really worried there'd be backlash or hate. And we worked with people who, anytime they sniff any time you're doing something for commercial reasons, like followers get really pissed. So is there anything, like any areas where you feel like you wouldn't compromise or you wouldn't do it for some sort of sense of integrity that's specific to you? Because I'm all for selling things if you believe it and you like it. So it's not that the minute you sell you don't have integrity, but are there any lines like you're like, I won't cross, or I won't do this or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, if I don't like a thing, something, or someone sent me, then I'm not gonna review it necessarily. Like some guy sent me like packing cubes, and I don't know, I don't really use them, and I tried them once, they were fine. I don't know, it's just not like how I pack. And he's like emailed me a couple times to be like, so did you like them? Are you gonna write a post on them? And I just had to be like, I'm sorry, I haven't really tested them the way they should be tested. If I do, I can potentially write a post, but I can't promise that. And I try to make that clear, like anytime that happens, but also I'm not at the point where I'm getting like tons of free stuff sent to me. But like, I mean, some PR firm reached out to me like even like last week, and were like, we'll send you free like cold brew coffee, just like post about it on Instagram. I mean, I haven't gotten it in the mail yet, but if I like it, then I guess I'll post. But I'm not gonna like.
But you make it clear, like I'll try it, and I like it, I'll post, but if I don't, I'm not going to post about it.
And even like, even like staying in hostels, like based on the free stay, it is kind of, it's kind of a weird, like, oh, if I really like it, definitely posting about it. If I don't, like, do I? And with like, I guess I also have to think with certain things you have to take into consideration, like like hostels. Like, no matter what, you're probably gonna be in a room with horrible people who like snore or are rude or like. And so for that, it's like hard to write a review, like, because it's not the hostel's fault that the people are terrible. Like, so I try to write about like the hostel as a whole instead of like maybe my bad experience with like annoying people in my room. And sometimes, or like when I was just in London last week, I did a hostel stay and it was like 3 nights in a room with other people and then 1 night in a private, so I'm more focused on the 1 night in the private, which was actually nice. Versus, and then in the review I did put like, it's hard to be in a room with other people, so when I got to the private room, then I could enjoy and relax. So like, in that case, I still like will insert, and also I always put if something has been sponsored or given to
hashtag ad.
You have to now, pretty much, right?
So, because I really don't ever want to be fake, but I know a lot of people try to, I guess, work their way around it. But yeah, you like kind of have to nowadays, or else you're really shady.
I mean, in some cases, or there's certain laws. I haven't heard all of them, but I know certain companies were getting in trouble for not making it clear that they were doing something sponsored or they were getting paid for it. So, if you're high up enough and making enough money off of it, I think you can get into some big trouble.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, ever since I started writing for this site called Pop Sugar, doing like travel stuff, and ever since I started writing for that, I get like press trip offers, which they'll contact me through my blog, making me really excited because they're like, we love your blog, we love your photography, and like we'd love to send you on this trip to Hawaii. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go.
My bags are packed.
But then after like a few back and forth emails where they've already like offered me the trip, it's not like they were like, if like they're like, we want to send you, like, we love your stuff, and I'm like, great, I'm free those days. And then like after a few days back and forth, then they'll slide in, oh, by the way, we actually want you to write about it for Pop Sugar, not your blog. And then I can't do press trip stories for Pop Sugar because I don't work for them. I'm just like a freelancer.
They're trying to like,
So, and then I've learned even from my own company that like brands are now trying to do that, or tourism boards or PR companies are trying to like kind of go in a back way to like have a writer write about something without having to pay the company like a big campaign fee. Because like
they're trying to circumvent it.
Yeah, because my travel company, like brands or tourism boards will pay us like lots of money for like a big branded campaign with like videos and articles and sponsored posts on like Instagram and Facebook, and it's like a lot of money. So like if I were to like sneakily take a trip.
So they were hoping that you would just go and be like, I just submitted this of my own volition to Pop Sugar, nothing to do with this company, and they would get a free ride out of it because basically you'd be doing it under the guise of you just chose.
Because all they would have to pay is like, I mean, your travel fees, which is in comparison to like how much a campaign is like nothing. So,
but you would, if you could get in big trouble, obviously not be invited to write back.
Yeah, so
they don't care what happens
and
to
like,
you.
With Pop Sugar, like they say like we won't like be your sponsor for this trip. Like you can still submit like pitches from that trip, but you can't like say like I'm a guest of this thing.
Yeah, and you couldn't guarantee that it would get accepted either.
Yeah, so I've had like a lot. I've had like 6 of those now where I've been like let down super hard because they led with "We love your blog" and then
just say it up front now, maybe. Just be like, by the way,
I had like a whole rant about that on my Instagram stories like a month ago because I'd like gotten a pitch for like a trip to Hawaii and I was really excited about it. And, and then they just broke my heart.
Crazy.
It's okay.
So, what do you recommend someone who's brand new wants to live that travel blog lifestyle, go on trips, and put it all on Instagram? Like, is there any tips for someone that wants to get into that?
Yeah, I mean, my first thing is like just go. Like everyone's making excuses all the time for why they're not traveling. Just go. Like there are so many ways to get cheap flights nowadays. Like, and you kind of have to. It's like any business, you have to invest in yourself first. So if you have never traveled anywhere and you're like, I want to start a travel blog, well, you kind of have to travel. So, I mean, you can do like local things around you at first if you really like want to at least get some content, but like you have to go somewhere at least and kind of get, I guess, life experience. And then I think having a very like beautiful website, good quality photography is so important. Like you can't just be like taking crappy cell phone pictures without editing them and putting them up, because like I'd love to say that writing is super important nowadays, but like unfortunately, like it's all about visuals now. Like you could be the best writer in the world, but no one's gonna read your blog if you don't have like nice photographs.
Especially something as visual as travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's why because I started out writing more on my blog, and it's definitely turned more visual now. I feel like I do more like photojournal posts now than just straight up like here are like 10 things you can do. But even in that case, it's like photos and then like a little explanation. Yeah, people are very visual. Yeah, like you just have to like have a really nice website. If your website's like looks like it's from the 90s, it's like not good. And then like as long as you have something like a package to present that looks nice, then you can start kind of doing anything with it.